tonight. A CBC News investigation reveals troubling new details about the president of First Nations University. Her life was spiraling out of control because of drugs. Now she's helping others fighting addiction. And how one man is making a splash, celebrating a milestone birthday.
This is CBC Saskatchewan News.
It is Wednesday, October 1st, and the CBC Saskatchewan News starts right now. I'm Ethan Williams. Thank you for joining us. CBC News has obtained a scathing internal report which raises concerns about the conduct of the president of First Nations University. It says Jacqueline Ottman hired family and friends, disregarding many university policies, and that she fired the whistleblower who first raised the concerns. Jeff Leo has more in our top story.
Jacqueline Ottman became president of First Nations University back in late 2021. It did not take long for concerns to emerge. In 2023, the board launched an investigation of dozens of allegations. The scathing report that emerged found Ottman was involved in 9 cases of nepotism, hiring friends and family into her circle of favor. And it found she violated many university financial and governance policies. The report concluded she was empire building. After the investigation was launched, Ottman fired the key whistleblower, Jason Wong, who was the university's VP of Finance and Administration. Investigators found that firing was at least in part retaliatory. Alan Adam was vice chair of the university's board that commissioned the investigation. He concluded Ottman should be fired.
We need a good person in there that is going to be there for the best interests of us, the people, and not just their own interests.
He says the board chair at the time agreed she should be fired, but a group of new board members, mostly First Nations chiefs, had a different view.
They said we're behind our president 100%. Right away, that was their position. We're behind her. Whatever investigations happen, let them happen.
Adam says he and the board chair were pushed out. He worries that history is repeating itself. 15 years ago, this university was in turmoil while being led by a board made up of mostly First Nations chiefs. Ottawa and the provincial government cut the university's funding.
I guess really what we're talking about is the loss of confidence by this government in this institution. So what we've done is said we won't be renewing funding.
Funding was restored after new rules were established, banning politicians from the board. But recently, the chief-led organization that runs the university decided to once again give chiefs the majority.
You've got them meddling again and potentially protecting the president, appointing people who will support the president.
Ottman has not replied to CBC's request for an interview. In an email, the board chair says the organization has done a comprehensive review of the reports and it has complete confidence in the president. Jeff Leo, CBC News, Regina.
The Federation of Sovereign Indigenous Nations is refuting the findings of a forensic audit into its expenses. Last week, Indigenous Services Canada released a summary of the audit it launched after receiving allegations of financial mismanagement. The audit flagged $34 million of questionable spending. About $23 million of that is related to pandemic spending and distribution of personal protective equipment. The FSIN says it can't provide a proper response to the allegations because ISC has not responded to multiple requests for the full report. But it says it has receipts and invoices for all COVID-related expenses, and the quick deployment of PPE saved lives. ISC says it has not received a request from the FSIN for the full report, and it does not usually provide full reports to funding recipients. 5 provinces, including Saskatchewan, hiked their minimum wage Wednesday and have tied increases to the Consumer Price Index. Saskatchewan's is now at $15.35 an hour. In Nova Scotia and Prince Edward Island, it's up to $16.50 an hour. Ontario increased to $17.60 per hour, and Manitoba's is an even $16. BC, Quebec, and New Brunswick and Newfoundland and Labrador already hiked their minimum wage earlier this year. Alberta is now the only province that has not increased its minimum wage this year. At $15 per hour, Alberta has the lowest rate in the country. The Saskatchewan government says it has spent millions on projects around the Rafferty Dam. The dam is located near Estevan. The projects include $10 million to repair the dam's spillway. The improvements are expected to help when water levels rise. The Water Security Agency owns and operates 70 dams, supply channels, and reservoirs. And the minister responsible for the agency says this recent spending will help protect the water supply in the province's southeast. Well, it is a full circle moment for one Saskatchewan woman. Susan Sabalski used to be a drug dealer. Now she's running the province's newest drug treatment court. Bonnie Allen shares her story.
An avid kayaker, Susan Sabalski isn't afraid of rough waters. She's proven she can conquer almost anything. 14 years ago, this was her, a drug dealer who only cared about feeding her crystal meth addiction.
I just felt this hopelessness and just couldn't see my way out of it. And I honestly believed for a large portion of my life that I would die an addict.
Her criminal charges were racking up until during one stint in jail, she knew something had to change.
All my poor life choices really hit me. It was like, okay, I'm 34, 35 years old. I'm pregnant. I'm in jail. I'm looking at a federal sentence. I didn't think that I could mess up my life much worse. And so the reality of all of that hit me, and I was terrified.
Sabalski was accepted into the Regina Drug Treatment Court. It's known as a therapeutic court. The focus is rehabilitation, not incarceration. Sabalski had to plead guilty to all charges, but if she completed hundreds of hours of treatment and counseling, she wouldn't go to prison. Judy Burns was the manager of the program then and still is today.
This is not easy, especially with an infant under your arm. Changing everything from who you talk to, who you hang around with, repairing relationships with family, learning how to do things differently with a moral compass. Like, you have to change the way you think.
Not everyone graduates, but since 2006, more than 150 people have finished the program, including Sabalski. Now she's been hired to be the coordinator of Saskatchewan's newest drug treatment court in North Battleford. One federal prosecutor says offenders benefit from having a court worker who has been in their shoes.
The therapeutic court has an element of understanding and forgiveness and moving forward in a more supportive way for people who really do feel there's no place for them in society.
It's huge, right? This is why I do what I do.
It's surreal. My son has never seen the unhealthy version of me. You know, now I'm sitting here today, full circle, being able to help people that were once in the same position as me.
An example of what's possible. Bonnie Allen, CBC News, North Battleford.
People in Regina's pet industry are having their say on the city's animal bylaw review. They recently gathered for a consultation meeting with the city to discuss aggressive dogs and the possibility of a ban on certain dog breeds. It comes after the city put out a 12-question public survey sparking concern over a breed ban. The owner of one dog training facility says education is paramount. She says aggressive dogs are very rare and should not be painted with the same brush.
I've been dealing with aggressive dogs for 23 years as a professional trainer. That is my specialty. And in 23 years, I've done 2 behavior euthanasias. So that's microscopic in the thousands of dogs that I've worked with.
The city says over 12,000 people have already taken the survey. It officially closes October 3rd, and Phase 1 recommendations are expected to be presented to Council in November. A Regina teen is set to make a striking appearance for Team Canada at this year's World Baseball Softball Confederation U18 qualifier in Argentina. 18-year-old Kian Poitras, a member of Muscopetang First Nation, is the only Indigenous player from Saskatchewan. Poitras received the invitation after his performance in the Canada Summer Games in August. He spoke to CBC just before flying out from Regina Wednesday morning and was joined by his family, who will also be flying to Argentina on Saturday to cheer him on.
Growing up, I've had some role models that I looked up to, and I know that feeling of being that little kid and looking up to someone and saying I want to be like them when I'm older. So yeah, it's a pretty special feeling. It means a lot for them to come and watch me, especially across the world. You know, it's a good feeling that they want to come and support me and watch me while I play ball.
The qualifier runs October 5th to 13th. Poitras will play alongside 16 of Canada's top softball players. The top 4 teams will earn their ticket to the 2027 Men's Softball World Cup. Well, we have flipped the calendar to a new month. Call it Ogtober. Despite the leaves on the ground, sure felt like summer once again Wednesday. And Helena Mahalik says we are not done with the heat yet. She will have her full forecast when we come back. Wildlife advocate and primate expert Jane Goodall has died at the age of 91. She was renowned worldwide for her groundbreaking research on chimpanzees, as well as for her activism for the environment and human rights. Jill English looks at her life and legacy.
She was just 26 when she made her first groundbreaking discovery. Studying chimpanzees in the mountains of Tanzania in the 1960s, she watched the animals use sticks to fish for termites. It was a simple observation, but when she reported it back to her supervisor, it unraveled the definition of what it means to be human.
Man the toolmaker is how we were defined at that time. So when I told Lewis, he sent back that famous telegram saying, now we have to redefine man, redefine tool, or accept chimpanzees as humans.
Chronicled by National Geographic, Goodall and her chimps became cultural icons. But the revered scientist was also an unlikely one. Born into working-class England in 1934, her only formal education before her chimp study was in bookkeeping. As a child, she dreamed of living among African wildlife, like her heroes Tarzan and Jane.
So no wonder people laughed at me, except my mother. And she would say, if you really want something and you really work hard and you take advantage of opportunity and you never give up, you'll find a way.
Jane spent the better part of 26 years in the forest, founding the Jane Goodall Institute, which still operates today. This life of research would have been enough to lock in a legacy. But in the mid-1980s, Goodall's mission changed. Deforestation was decimating habitats around the world.
I'd been able to live out my dream all those years. I'd been with these amazing beings in the beautiful forest, and it was all disappearing. I now had a responsibility to start paying back.
She went from scientist to activist.
Till everybody understands the problem, we can't really hope for change.
Goodall spent most of her time on the road, spreading her observations and her cause.
It's all intertwined, and there are no simple solutions.
In her outreach, Goodall supported communities near her research center and encouraged young people to tackle social and environmental challenges close to home.
I want to get the tree energy, and I want the energy from the tree.
A lot of people understand and they care, but they feel helpless because they don't know what to do. And so, you know, the hope is to galvanize them.
But under her empathy, ironclad resolve.
People say, oh, we've borrowed the future from our children. When you borrow, you're supposed to pay back.
She advanced science her way, and through it, our grasp of humanity, giving us the tools to share in her hope. Jill English, CBC News, Toronto.
And weather specialist Helena Mahalik joins us now, and just making sure we're on the same page here. It is October, right?
Yeah, it is October, Ethan, although temperature-wise, it doesn't exactly feel like it. That is some carryover from September, which was a very hot month for Saskatchewan. It was actually hotter than the month of June. Let's take a look and see just how hot it got. Well, this year in June, Regina averaged about 23 degrees, and in September actually averaged 24 degrees, so about a degree above. In Saskatoon, it was slightly cooler. In June, we averaged 20 22 degrees, and in September averaged 21, so just 1 degree below. Keep in mind, typically in June, we're seeing an average of 22 degrees, and in September, an average of 19. So for September, we were a good 1 to 4 degrees above seasonal for this time of year. And on this first day of October, it has also felt more like summer than fall, especially if you're in the southeast corner of the province. Places like Regina and Estevan getting around 25 degrees. Central areas hovering in the low 20s. We did see some rainfall up north, making things just feel just a little bit cooler, hovering in the low to mid-teens. In the next few days, we are going to continue to see some warmer weather, but things will cool down. Thursday, much of the province is going to be in those low 20s. As we get into Friday, it's going to be about the same thing, although some rainfall may make things feel a little bit cooler. And then as we get into Saturday, we're seeing those reds disappear on our map, and we're going to break out of the 20-degree mark and into the low to mid-teens. And as for Wednesday evening in the province, we're seeing mainly clear skies. Over the next few days, we might see a little bit of rainfall, especially up north. We're just seeing a slight chance of scattered showers Thursday morning. And as we get into the rest of Thursday, we're going to continue to see some showers around the La Ronge area. As we get into the rest of the week on Friday, though, just mainly cloudy skies and a bit of some showers in the southwest there for areas around Swift Current. And as we head into the weekend, we're going to continue to see some scattered showers throughout the province, some in the east and some up north as well. So just how much rainfall are we going to get? In south and central Saskatchewan, not too much, around 10 millimeters in the southeast corner there. It's really the north that is going to get some rainfall over the next few days. We're really only seeing about 5 millimeters of rainfall on the high end there. So although things are going to start feeling a little bit cooler and getting some rainfall, Ethan, the sun is still going to be out, so it may still feel a little bit like summer.
All right, as we go into October, but yeah, rain definitely a rarity these days. Thanks, Helena.
Thanks, Ethan.
Well, with a big birthday coming up, a Saskatchewan man wanted to do something special, so he splashed upon a novel idea, jumping into one lake for every year he's been alive. Scott Larson has his story.
It was a birthday challenge for a milestone year, 70 lakes for his 70th birthday. Gerald Siemens got the idea back in the spring while traveling with his son Matthew, who runs an online directory of Saskatchewan's more than 100,000 lakes.
So we were visiting all these lakes anyways, and I like to swim, so I just thought, boy, if I could jump into 70 of them, that'd be kind of a fun thing to do for my 70th birthday.
Matthew says he thought it was an audacious plan at first, but soon was planning different routes to get to as many lakes as they could.
Obviously, the fires this summer made me change our plans a bit. A lot of the places we planned on going kind of became inaccessible or inadvised for a while, so we had to do a few different routes than we were expecting, but we got her done.
Matthew documented their journey.
Some of the lakes that we swam in would not be typical swimming lakes. I probably wouldn't recommend them for somebody else to swim in, but they were fun for me to do. I know that I swam in some places that probably nobody else ever will.
What makes it even more interesting is that Gerald didn't even learn how to swim until about 12 years ago.
I just started as therapy for a back injury and found out that the best time of the day was when I was in the pool or in the lake. And so I decided to learn how to swim and enjoy the water.
Gerald did his 70th plunge at Pike Lake near Saskatoon, where he had 3 of his grandchildren join him. He says that was one of the highlights of the adventure, along with being able to share it with his son.
Not everybody lives nearby a really top beach area, but everybody lives near a lake in Saskatchewan that they can get to do something for sure.
Gerald hopes to explore and possibly take a dip in more lakes next summer. Scott Larson, CBC News, Saskatoon.
Well, you can call this overstuffed bear a champion chunk. He won't mind. It's actually his name. 32 Chunk has just been voted the winner of Fat Bear Week. Yes, every year a U.S. park in Alaska asks the internet to pick its favorite bear who's put on the most weight for winter. 32 Chunk tipped the scales with more than 96,000 votes. Stay with us. We're back after the break. Welcome back. The Saskatchewan Roughriders are looking to get back to their winning ways this week. The Riders are in the midst of their first losing streak of the season. The team has dropped back-to-back games against the Alouettes and the Elks. Despite that, they still have a league-best 10-4 record and a 2-game lead atop the West Division standings. Two of the Riders' defensive leaders say they need to get back to their identity to end this losing streak.
Just trying to be who we are. You know, we've been winning a lot of games throughout the year. You know, we had the loss to Calgary, we were able to bounce back. So we just got to, you know, be who we are and just make sure we're doing it for 4 quarters and not 2 to 3.
Man, just like every week, man, we try to come out and go 1-0. That's kind of think what we have to continue to keep our mind frame there. Every week's different, man. Our last 2 losses aren't indicative of what's about to happen this week, so we just got to keep going.
The Riders are taking on a struggling Ottawa Red Blacks team this week. The Red Blacks currently have a league worst 4-10 record. Kickoff from Ottawa is set for 5:30 Friday night. And Helena, there is nothing that suggests that we are losing in the weather department these days with the type of weather we're getting.
No, Ethan, it's definitely been beautiful. However, there might be some cooler days in store. Let's take a look at the forecast for the city of Regina. Thursday and Friday, temperatures will be in the low 20s with overnight lows in the double digits. As we get into Saturday, a good chance of rainfall is dropping those daytime highs into the high teens and our overnight lows into the single digits, getting even cooler on Sunday with our overnight lows into freezing or even into below freezing territory and our daytime highs in the single digits. It's only really lasting for about that one day. You know, into next week, the sun comes back and we will be seeing daytime highs in the double digits. As we get into the forecast for Saskatoon, same thing, Thursday and Friday, we are seeing our daytime highs in the low 20s. Into Saturday, things cool down, especially for our overnight lows. By the time we get to Monday, we are going to be below freezing, definitely going to see some frost there. Sunday will be cool, our daytime highs will be in the single digits, but again, it's really only lasting that one day, and then we're back into the teens. So Ethan, sad to report some fall weather is heading our way, but you know, as long as it's rain and not snow, I'll take it.
That is true. Looks like October's going to start doing its thing finally. Thanks, Helena.
Thanks, Ethan.
And that is our news for this Wednesday. For news anytime, you can head to our website or YouTube channel or download the CBC News app on your smartphone or tablet. Thanks so much for watching.